Alec Rowley for around 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I said in opening the debate for Labour at stage 1 that if we as a country wish to move to a more direct democracy in which referendums were used more and more in decision making, the objectives of this bill, and as they are set out, would be sound. As a result of its scrutiny of the draft bill, the committee made a number of key recommendations on how to improve some of the fundamental flaws in the bill. And many of those recommendations have indeed been accepted by the Government, but crucially, the recommendation on question testing has not. And today we will hear from many that this bill is an administrative procedure to facilitate future referendums rather than retaining the current ad hoc approach. In my lifetime, there have been 6 referendums, 3 on a UK-wide basis and 3 specific to Scotland and the Constitution. The reason there have been so few is due to the fact that we live in a parliamentary democracy and abide by the principle of parliamentary sovereignty. Now, I'm not aware of any great demand or shift in public opinion to move away from that principle of parliamentary sovereignty. So, the bill we are debating today is a bill to pave the way for an independence referendum to take place next year. Indeed, Michael Russell, when given evidence to the Finance and Constitution Committee, stated, and I quote, "We have never hidden the fact that I see this bill as being used by the Parliament and the Government to create the referendum for independence." And he went on to say the SNP have no other plans for any other referendums. So I say again today, Labour cannot support this bill on that basis. We believe that it is not in Scotland's interest to create, in the midst of the Tory Brexit chaos, even more uncertainty and more chaos. Indeed, I suggest that during this period, it would be impossible to put a clear proposition to the Scottish people. What I cannot understand is that the SNP say the 2014 referendum was a gold standard referendum, but now in 2019 they are trying to pursue a referendum where it would be impossible to know exactly what it was we were voting for. Perhaps that is the reason why they are so determined to rig the question. They say it has been tested time and again, but I say the proposition in 2014 and the proposition today are very different. What the SNP are proposing for next year's independence referendum is independence in Europe. Now, what we do know is that the deficit reduction that would be required for membership of the European Union would lead to years of massive austerity in Scotland. And that is before we even start counting the cost of the divorce bill from the rest of the UK, or the cost of having a hard border with England. The other point is that we really do not know if we would get entry into the European Union. Mr Russell tells us that Herman Van Rompuy, the former president of the European Commission, says that the path is open for Scotland to join the European Union. I ask, on what terms and what conditions would we have to sign up to? Never mind the fact that all 27 countries would have to agree. But I would also draw Mr Russell's attention to the comments of the European Policy Centre think tank, of which Mr Van Rompuy is the president. They said Scotland could not expect special treatment and that the Scottish Government would have to accept all the obligations of membership, including agreeing in principle to joining the euro. So before the SNP start rushing ahead for a new independence referendum to seek an independence in Europe mandate, I would suggest they must be able to explain exactly what that would mean for hard-working people in Scotland. All our efforts over this next year must surely be focused on minimising the damage that Brexit will do to our country. I think that is what the majority of people expect from this Parliament, the majority of people in Scotland expect from this government, and that is what they want. And that is why Labour will not support this bill today.